Hi everyone, welcome in the channel. Today we're going to talk about how to import in the European Union. So before we go ahead, remember to subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed the video and to leave a comment and a like, because that's going to help us grow and share more information with you all. Moving forward with our topic today, we talk about how to import in the European Union and what you need to ask yourself before importing goods there. So what are the questions you should ask yourself? Well, first of all, we need to think about product requirements, the type of product that you sell. So you should ask yourself, can I actually sell this product? Well, when it comes to products, you need to think about if they are dangerous, if it contains anything that can be harmful for the health of an individual, if they need a specific approval because it's food, it's something that can be, swallowed, for example, any pills, supplements, anything that can cause some harm to the body, to the health of an individual. But overall, you pretty much find those rules and you can contact any company that can help you with to understand if your product needs to be certified, needs to have a certificate, for example, dangerous goods, like product with batteries need to have an MSDS, or medical equipment need to have an approval, for example, in the US from the FDA, in the European Union as well, they need to be approved most likely. So just make sure that you check your product requirements. Same goes with labels, for example, the labeling, what information you should show on the jar if you're selling some marmalades or anything else, even on the supplement, the calories, and so on. So also the label requirements and what you need to display in the little guide inside the package when you send something to a customer, basically. So product requirements overall, like can you sell the product as it is, or you need any additional information that needs to be shared, any language that you should stick to, like the example of the Mexico, that you need to have labels both in Spanish and English, and so on. So those product requirements and also certification is something you should think of before importing anything to the European Union. Second thing would be additional costs like tariffs and taxes. So when we think about tariff and taxes, we think about VAT and duties. So when it comes to that, you should ask yourself, is there anything else I need to pay on top of the shipping fee or the product cost? Well, it really depends also on the Incoterm that you use. If you ship DDP or DAP. So DDP means you absorb those costs and you most likely collect it already at the checkout, but DAP means that the final customer is going to pay for it. And of course, it depends on the type of, based on the type of Incoterm, you also need to have an IOSS, set up or not. If you ship in DAP, you don't really need an IOSS number and an IOSS set up, but if you actually ship in DDP, you need to have a VAT number. Charge at the checkout for duties and taxes, and then remit them every month to the government with your ISS VAT number in the ISS system. Then we have rules of origin. So the question you should ask yourself is, can I actually pay less duties? Well, you actually can. It really depends also from based on which countries the European Union has treaty with. For example, like between Canada, America, the United States and Mexico, there's what was called NAFTA. So it's basically, let's say, an agreement that has some preferential duty rates among those countries. Europe has a lot with China, America, and so on. So it depends on where, let's say, your product is manufactured, from where it's coming, that a different treaty may apply. A different treaty may have a different rate and different tariffs to apply your product. So the exact same product, if it's shipped from America or if it's shipped from Colombia, from United States or from Colombia, can have a different duty rate applied because there are some preferential duty rates that can apply on products based on the country of origin. But of course, you need to have an assessment, you need to certify, and they have to verify that the country of origin is actually that specific country that you declare. So you need to have some proofs and so on. But of course, there are some guidelines in the European Union website that you can follow and check. Then we have import procedures overall and regulations. So in that case, what you should ask to yourself is, do I need any specific document or do I need any specific certification in order to clear the goods at customs? And most likely that's when you need a custom broker, for example, or you need a certification like the MSDS, or like the certification that validates the content of your product. If you're selling supplements, for example, there may be different things actually related to this question and to this, let's say, aspect. But overall, it's most likely like how do you clear goods at custom? Do you have an entity in the EU? You need a custom broker most likely that helps you with the custom clearance? Are you going to use a courier broker? Are you going to use your own broker? Do you actually have someone that can do it for you, or someone that can act on your behalf as importer of records? So think about how can I do it? How can I import like literally and physically? So most likely you need certifications, documents, and someone that does that for you. So still in the import rules and regulations, another question that you can ask yourself is that, do I need to have a company there? Well, you don't necessarily need to have a company. You need to have a VAT number and an EORI number. So the VAT number is needed for the purpose of basically import physically the goods into a specific country, into a warehouse, and then sell them. So you need to distribute them locally, resell them. So you're importing at cost basically, because you need to store in a warehouse, and then you're gonna sell to customers. At the point of sales is when you're gonna apply also the VAT. The VAT that you collect while the goods are in the warehouse in the European Union, and then you have a sale and you're shipping from a European Union country to a final customer. It's when it's a EU to EU, let's say, a type of transaction. So that's when the VAT applies, and you need to apply the VAT at the checkout. You're gonna collect the VAT from your customer, and then you're gonna remit to the government every quarter. So of course, yes, you still need to have a VAT number, and local regulations apply. So same story, if you have a VAT number, basically you're treated like a local, we can say. The VAT rules are still applied to you, same story. The difference is that your company is actually located outside the European Union, but you still need some ways to collect and remit, the VAT to the government, and that's why you need to have a VAT number. But the VAT number is different from the EORI. The EORI number is just used to identify your company as importer. So they use the EORI number to import the goods. So when the custom clearance officer checks the goods, he's going to check, okay, do you have an EORI number? And based on your number, they are going to identify that it's you, company XYZ, to import. And they check that you're also on track, everything is right. You have actually the authorization also to import if you need it, and so on. So it's a faster custom clearance basically, because an EORI number means that you are registered and they can check on you. So you're kind of verified already, and you can import stuff as long as it complies with whatever you declare at the time of creating your EORI number. But VAT is mainly for collecting and paying it. But you still need to have one, otherwise how are you going to do it, right? Another thing is the intellectual property. So if you're selling something that, let's say, has a patent somewhere else, you most likely need to register also in the European Union or anywhere else in the world. So there are some, it's a long story, we're going to thread this in another video, but of course there are some countries where you can use the same patent, register patent, but it's another story basically. But overall, just make sure that if your current patent is valid in a specific country, you need to register there as well. Same for the trademark, because that's going to help to basically protect your idea. If it's still an idea, for example, you're importing some samples, to protect the technology, to protect the product. If there's anything innovative about your product, something that you figure out yourself that nobody has yet, something really innovative, then you need to register a patent for that, so you're protected, nobody can copy you. So that's the main purpose. Same for the trademark. If you have a specific logo or a specific name, of course you don't want anyone else to be associated to you or steal your name and have a trademark on that, so then you can even use it, even if you are the original one, right? So just make sure you always register trademark for your logo and for your company name, and also patents for your product if you actually develop something innovative, so you avoid any copycats basically. So another thing you can think of when importing your European Union is how you're going to get goods out there. So let's say that you have a return and you need to return it back to the factory or to your office because you need to check on them and your customer don't want them anymore. And of course you need to take them out from the European Union because you need to send to the manufacturer, for example. In that case, you can actually have a duty drawback, which means that at the time of import you actually pay duty, but when you re-export, because you're sending back to the manufacturer to check, you can actually ask for a duty drawback, which means collect the duty, whatever you pay back, as long as, of course, you have proofs. There's it's a different story, a long story, but you can still have a duty drawback in some cases. Also, keep in mind that importing in the European Union, if you import, for example, some stocks in Germany, and you want to move some stocks somewhere else, you want to hold stocks in Germany and you want to hold stocks also in Netherlands, you need to have two VAT numbers, because you're holding stock. If you're an overseas company, I'm talking about having an overseas company, a company that's established overseas, and then you're importing stock in the European Union. Well, you need to have a VAT number, have someone act as importer record for you on your behalf in different countries where you have actually stocks, you hold stocks. So both the German VAT and then, let's say, Netherlands VAT, because it's where you hold stocks and you really need to have a local VAT there. So it's not just one, it's every time you have, let's say, you hold stocks in a different country within the European Union. Overall, if you, for example, just ship from Germany all over the European Union, you just need one VAT number in Germany because you hold stocks there. And then you can ship whatever you want, whenever you want, within the European Union. Now, another topic will be the ISS and OSS number. Then, of course, when you register the VAT number for your company in the European Union, you need a way to actually, collect the VAT and remit it to the government. There's what's called ISS number, OSS number. If you import goods, it's one-stop shop, which is OSS number. So it's a different system, let's say, similar to ISS, just that ISS is more for goods imported from overseas, directly to the final customer, below 150 euros. But let's go back to what is interesting about importing the EU, is that you have a local VAT number, and then you need to have an OSS number to actually collect and file the VAT to remit to the government, basically. So you can just do it through this OSS system, and once you have the registration, it's going to be super easy to declare the VAT and pay the VAT. So you don't have to scramble around and collect and say, okay, how much do I have to, actually give to this country, how much to this other country, and so on, because it's all in one system. You just need to split your sales and whatever you sell in a specific country, and that's it. The system will do everything. So that's another side of the story of importing in the EU. So there are different things to keep in mind. Definitely the VAT number, having a custom broker declare the goods, or do it yourself. You need to have an EORI number. You need to think about duties, taxes, how you're going to remit those. You need to think about product requirements. You need to think about certifications. You need to think about marks, for example. Still related to import products, specific products, you need to have the CE mark, which means that it needs to be a product that is actually being validated by the European Commission, or actually experts, I would say, the European Commission. There are some, let's say, companies that validate the products and they assign you the CE mark. They tell you, they issue a certificate saying that the product complies with the regulations in the European Union. It can actually be sold in the European Union. This is what you actually see under the CE mark on product packages and so on. So that's also, for example, a requirement that your product should have. Still falls in the first, let's say, aspects that we discussed. Products, let's say, requirements. And that's basically what you should keep in mind overall, still related to, let's say, the guidelines and how the product should be packed and so on, or the goods, the substances that specific things can contain or not contain, what is banned, what is not banned, what is approved to be sold and not, which means the CE mark and so on. So before importing the EU, just make sure that you cross-check all the requirements, the VAT, the regulations and so on, to avoid any potential problems, but also to avoid that you actually pay too much for something where you could pay, let's say, way less actually. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, just leave a like and a comment, because I'm gonna make part 2, which is gonna be a little bit more detail on how to import in the European Union. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.